What a game he's had. Yager in front, turns, he scores! And that's 742!
Hello out there, we're on the air. It's hockey night tonight. Tension grows, the whistle blows, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players bump and the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores at the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game.
Hey everybody, welcome to Stick Time. I'm Brett Mayerson, along here with Logan Condon and Patrick Henkels, and we have all the latest news for you on our local hockey teams, plus any single news going on in the NHL and in college hockey. But first, let's talk about a recap of All-Star Weekend, boys. A good 3-on-3 tournament. A lot of fans had a great time, great for the city of Nashville. There's one controversy that happened was John Scott, while he was there, was traded to Montreal. Montreal immediately sent him down to the minors. They still allowed him to play, but basically Gary Bettman and the NHL worked to trade with the Canadiens so that John Scott never gets back in the All-Star game.
That's a positive because you don't want people like that with no skill whatsoever to be in an All-Star game.
But he was an MVP. He's hit a hat trick.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop you right there, Logan. I don't think it's fair to say that this man has no skill. I mean, he has enough skill. You have to let me talk. You have to let me talk.
Chill.
All right. So with John Scott, we know this guy is a
very good enforcer.
A Patrick Kane. He's not a Jonathan Toews, but you know this guy. He's a good hockey player.
He works his butt off.
Yeah, he works his butt off. He's a good old-fashioned grinder, and it's great to see something different for once in the All-Star game. You know, I know that the voting system that they had played up for the All-Star game really didn't have that great of a result with them picking John Scott and everything, but still, you know, John Scott I think really proved his worth in the All-Star game. I mean, everyone had fun. You know, everyone was great about it. He got into a funny fight with his old teammate Patrick Kane. Yeah, it was
like a fake fight. That was hilarious.
That was great.
But the fact that the NHL administration worked with the Canadiens and the Coyotes to make sure that he couldn't play in the NHL again. He's going to be in the AHL for probably the rest of his career with Montreal because of how good that organization is going to be in the next few years. Is really disgusting to me. That you just didn't want to let this guy have his moment. He still had his moment, but you don't want to let him live off of that for the rest of his career.
I know that's true, really.
And plus, he's gonna move his 5-year-old daughter and his wife now to Canada.
But I think going off of him being in the All-Star game, it's good that he made it, but the All-Star game is meant to have the best of the best players in the NHL.
Well, think of all the
to
other
showcase. But this is for the NHL. They all have their own All-Star games for every league. Every league has it. Even when you're younger, if you're in a tournament, they have a skills competition, stuff like that for fun. But in the NHL, you're supposed to have the best of the best, the cream of the crop, showing their skills. I think that an enforcer, it's kind of hard to show your skills when you're using your fists.
That's a good point to make, and also we can't really blame John Scott for
being in this.
He didn't even start.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't say vote for me. Like, he just got voted for.
Yeah. So don't hate the man. Hate the system.
Yeah. But if you think about every other major sports all-star system, think about you got the NHL fans vote, the NBA fans vote, Major League Baseball, which is probably the biggest sports league in America besides the NFL. The fans vote. The NFL is the one league where the fans don't vote. The committee chooses the players, and then the players get drafted to 2 teams. But people like the fan voting system because it gets their favorite guys who they think deserve a shot in the All-Star game to get the honor at least once in their career. I mean, I kind of like the fan system. For situations like that, it can be a little annoying, but John Scott played really well in the All-Star game. The guy had a freaking hat trick.
But then again, the All-Star game isn't necessarily a game.
I know, but they're having a good time. The fans are loving it.
There's nothing really at stake. Like, that one goal he scored on that breakaway, you could see that the back checker wasn't really trying when he was coming into that shot. Yeah, because no one really tries in the All-Star game. The All-Star game is meant to.
The All-Star game is like the NBA All-Star game where people don't even play defense.
It's basically just to have fun.
Exactly.
That's what it is. And John Scott had fun out there, and good for him getting the MVP. I think he really deserved it. And I did some research on the guy, and it turns out he's a really great guy, really down-to-earth, humble man, and also very funny. There's a lot of funny moments on YouTube that I looked up of him. He's a very funny, congenial guy.
Exactly. He just loves playing hockey.
Yeah, he just loves playing hockey.
He doesn't play the win. He plays because he loves it. And that's the kind of guy you want in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
And let's also talk about the oldest All-Star to be selected in a while, Jaromir Jagr. At the time, age 43. Actually, yesterday was his birthday. Happy late birthday to you, Jaromir. He just turned 44, and he also scored a goal. Actually, no, his birthday was 2 days ago. He scored a goal the day after his 44th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday against the San Jose Sharks, scoring the first goal of the game. One of the oldest players to score a goal in the NHL.
And he moved up on the list of
And,
all-time
and
scorers.
after that, he also moved up to third all-time on the all-time scoring list. So, first of all, do we think? How long do you think that he's going to keep playing? First of all, his All-Star performance was incredible. He still made the All-Star game. Was a great player in the game and had a really good skills competition to show up. Jagr, 44, still playing great. Do we ever think this man is going to retire?
Well, I think if he stays, I mean, think about
never
this.
gets hurt.
Like Gordie Howe. I mean, it was a different style of hockey back then, but this guy Gordie Howe, he played until he was 51 years old. But now that we have Jagr, he's a very physically fit man, very physically fit by today's standards of hockey. So I think he could be playing for a few more years, really, if he really keeps up his health. And also, you really have to admire Jagr for his work ethic. You know, this is a guy who will literally take time out of his day to go to the ring just by himself and just find that that solitude in the ring just to practice and really work on his skills.
And he doesn't-
I've witnessed that too. I used to play on the New Jersey Rockets team, and occasionally a Devils player, they have like injured reserves, they have them get on the ice in their practice ring. And I remember showing up to the ring, and we weren't allowed in because they said Jaromir Jagr was out there when he was still on the Devils. He had a private training session just for himself, and it pushed all our games back an hour, but we still got to see him for a little bit. So he basically just goes on his own.
The guy works his butt off, plays with so much heart. 44 years old, and he's I think the really good reason why he's still in the AHL is because he's guiding all these young players. Look at that Florida Panthers team, one of the youngest teams in the AHL, second place in the Eastern Conference still, with a really young team. He is leading these guys, directing these guys, mentoring them, teaching them
Carrying
how
on
to
their backs, yeah.
teaching them how to be better players, and they're making this work. That he's making the work as a team. It used to be in the old days they would just have these good young guys who just play for themselves, but because of guys like Jagr, this team has such good chemistry and can actually go somewhere in the playoffs if they stay in the top of the standings.
Jagr really has really jumped around the league a lot ever since he came in.
How many teams have he been on? Like 5 or 6
in
teams?
1991. He came in with the Penguins, and he's been on a lot of teams. I think
He left-
Penguins,
he left the
Flyers,
NHL.
Devils, Bruins,
He left the
He's on the Capitals for like a year.
Capitals, the
Yeah.
Stars. 7 teams actually.
Yeah, so really, he really always has that little extra push to bring, I think, to each team he gets on. He's a very dynamic player.
He got the Bruins to the champ. He got them to the Stanley Cup during that lockout season, half season. He got them there, but they just couldn't finish
A
it.
lot of success. His biggest years were with the New York Rangers after the Pittsburgh Penguin years when he was playing with the Rangers. He had some really good years there too.
I know. Yeah, he really.
I mean, the guy still. People say you look at the guy now. He hasn't changed a bit. They said he played like that when he was younger. He was just younger. But
Yeah.
they said he definitely gets better and better every year.
Mhm.
And PK Subban, let's talk about the All-Star Weekend a little bit now. Played tribute to him in one of his things in the breakaway challenge.
Oh, yeah, that
puts
was
on a
great.
fake mullet and a Jagr Panthers jersey, and then scores a sick goal, and then takes off his glove and goes,
I
does the
love.
Jagr salute.
I absolutely adored the Jofa basket helmet he was wearing. That's just
That was totally old style hockey right there.
So old
That's like
school.
Mighty Ducks era right
So
there.
old school. I love it.
Yeah, All-Star Weekend, we have the game, we have the skills competition, the fastest skater. The hardest shot this year goes to Shea Weber with 108.5.
Still not as bad. Still not. If Chara was there, it would have been a better competition.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Chara's hurt, he can't do anything. And let's talk about the trade rumors that are starting to service up with the NHL trade deadline nearing. The NHL trade deadline coming up very soon. A lot of rumors are already starting to
I've
circulate.
heard PK Subban might go to Boston.
Rumor has it that the Canadians are talking not just to the Bruins, but a bunch of other teams that have not been named, and possibly shopping for someone else in exchange for PK Subban. What do we think about this trade? PK Subban has the heart and soul of the Canadians right now, besides Max Pacioretty. The city of Montreal loves PK
And
Subban.
Carey Price.
And Carey Price, but Carey Price hasn't been that healthy this year. Really, Mike Condon's been playing goalie. But PK Subban, if you're a Montreal fan, how would you feel if you lost the great PK Subban?
Honestly, if I was a Montreal fan, I would feel absolutely devastated because PK really brought a lot to the team. He's a very dynamic athlete, very very strong, very built. Great.
I swear he
great
could play forward as well as defense
Yeah,
because
but-
he's that fast.
but-
It's just
Like with the rumors of him coming to Boston, a Boston fan can only think, what if he's put on a line with Chara? Imagine how great of a defensive line that would be.
That would be sick. But like,
Even though them two you have seen them go at it in the past, there could be tension there. Like you've seen Chara go after PK,
But you've always-
PK go after. Well,
Well, Logan, you
PK's
have to
gone
think-
after everyone on
you
the
have,
Bruins.
you have
at
to think
some
about though. They say in the NHL, players have even said we may actually have our fist fights, but at the end of the day, they all respect each other. And if you like, people were concerned with people like who went from the Rangers to the Devils, who were like former rivals when they were on the separate teams together. When they came to same teams, like if a Ranger player and a Devil player who hate each other ended up being on the same team together, like and they fought before, of course they're gonna learn how to play with each other.
Yeah.
That's just how sports are. Not just hockey. That's how sports are. Like even in other sports too, you hear guys with locker room issues. Who cares if you work well together, you play well together. But I actually think that would be kind of a blockbuster move for the Bruins. But the thing is that who would they give up? Who would they have to give up? They have no draft picks to give up.
I know.
They also don't have the resources to give up. It's not like they have a
Who are
player.
you gonna give
that's-
up? Who are you gonna give up? Jimmy Hayes, a guy who
Yeah.
was just traded to you.
You
Like
don't,
seriously.
you don't have the players to give away because they are in the past couple of years they have been struggling defensively and offensively, not being healthy. Who are you gonna give up? Are you gonna give up? What players do you have that the Canadians will consider? Chara,
Charles
Bergeron, Martian. That's just not risk that the Bruins are willing to
Seth
take.
Griffith, who's a very good young player. Seriously.
Yeah, another thing about PK Subban is that he's a very great figure for the public. He always gives back to the fans, always, you know. And I think if he goes to Boston, he'll really be able to provide a lot to the to fans who would aspire to him, even though he's coming from Montreal.
Yeah, definitely. And let's talk about another big trade rumor on the market with the most unpredictable general manager in all of hockey, Dale Talon, who built the Blackhawks dynasty, now working for the Florida Panthers, who's built this new young guns team, supposedly shopping for more depth in the scoring, now that Alexander Barkov and Brandon Peary are hurt for a few weeks. So let's talk about this rumor we got. Possibly the captain of the Winnipeg Jets, and they're also their leading scorer, Andrew Ladd, possibly ending up in Florida. What do we think about this?
That even the Panthers are doing amazing this year, and this trade can only boost them above that.
Exactly.
But it all depends on how he fits in with that team. It's not like you have this good player, let's bring him in. It's not like it always works. It's just like, oh, you may have Ovechkin on it if he gets traded, but he might not have the resources to work with, and it could work out well if he does fit in well with what they want, but it could also work out badly.
I think that Andrew Ladd would be a terrific addition to this team. I mean, I think it would work out perfectly. Just judging by his talent, actually drafted Ladd to the Blackhawks when he first came into the NHL. So I think, first of all, Ladd would be insanely happy that he's with Talon again, because Talon gave him the shot to be in the league, and now Ladd is the star that he is today. But who would the Panthers give up for Ladd? They do have a lot of picks. They've built up a lot of picks from these trades that they got with prospects. Who would you give up for a guy like Andrew Ladd? I mean, Andrew Ladd is a heck of a player. You got to give them something decent in return, right? And the Jets, with how bad they're doing this year, they might be looking to rebuild. So I think that's why this is actually one of the most popular trade rumors, is that they're actually more willing to give up somebody like that because they want to rebuild their whole team, because they traded away Evander Kane to the Sabres. Dustin Bufflin's probably the biggest big name guy you have on Winnipeg now.
Yeah.
Besides their goalie Andre Pavlik. I mean, they're really starting to get younger. And when teams do that, you want to give up guys like Ladd. But I think that if Ladd does end up in Florida, where they say he will, that will make the Panthers a really dangerous team come playoff time. And they already are a pretty dangerous team come playoff time when 100% healthy. Once Erica Branson, their young stud defenseman, comes back, and when Barkov and Peary, who are snipers, come back. And if adding Ladd to that mix of Barkov, Peary, Yager, Quentin Howden, all these really good young forwards, I don't know who could possibly reckon with that.
What really relies on is chemistry. How well will they be able to work together, and how well will they be able to get things done together?
I actually tend to think hockey might be the easiest sport to actually work with new players. Because if you think of sports like football, you gotta learn a playbook.
Yeah.
Sports like football, you gotta learn a playbook. Basketball, you still gotta learn a playbook.
Yeah.
Baseball, very easy. Hockey, no playbook at all.
It's a very free-flowing game.
It's very
anything you
very
can-
free flowing.
Very unpredictable game.
Look at Phil Kessel. He goes to the Penguins in that trade, and he's himself again. He's a very good player. And everyone was like, oh, how's that going to work with Crosby and Malkin being the two stars on the team? They have a big three now. I mean, the Penguins are actually they're
It's also like
they're in the last playoff spot in the East, but they're still doing
it's
pretty
kind
well.
of like TJ Oshie going into Capitals. Like, is he going to work well with Ovechkin, or is having two superstars like that going to be a little bit hard to do?
Plus, they also signed Justin Williams, so that's 3 stars right there. And guys, we have the updated standings right now as of last night. We'll also talk about the games of the weekend, and we'll wrap up the show here. The games of the weekend coming up, we have Friday night. We have actually a New York, New Jersey rivalry game. We have the Devils and the Islanders at 7 p.m. at the Pru Center. Who takes this one? What do we think's going to happen
I
there?
think the Islanders.
Yeah,
The Devils have been struggling for years now.
They're still in the last playoff spot.
They're still in the last
which
playoff.
which is really sad considering they're in the last playoff spot.
They're
in the
last
Eastern Conference.
playoff spot, but they're really battling for that. It's not like
They're
other
battling
teams
with
that are.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
They're battling for it, but what they need, like, they just don't have the fire
They
that
don't,
the
they don't have the
Islanders.
same depth they used to have. Ever since Parise was
Kovalchuk.
traded, Kovalchuk left and Brodeur retired, or what went to the Blues rather than retired. Yeah.
Now he's retired. I think you guys are right about the Islanders taking this one. The Islanders have kind of moved up from that bottom of ticket sale list because if you watch the rest of their games, because they've actually gotten really good with a record of 30, 19, and 7. They're starting to pack the Barclays Center now. And I think that's actually really good for them. It's giving a lot of momentum to that
That's a
team
good record.
to finally be that dynasty that you were in the old days. Finally be that really good team that Islanders fans have always hoped for
Mhm.
come this time. I think that is definitely the game, one of the games of the weekend. Saturday. Wait till this loads here. Well, all the games we have, if you would like to watch any of these games, we have Sharks Hurricanes at 7 at the PNC Arena in Carolina. Sabres Blue Jackets, that's the bottom of the barrel. I don't think anyone's going to care about that one. Yeah, exactly. Flyers Canadians. The Flyers actually.
Canadians are going to take it.
I think Canadians are going to take it. The Flyers are slowly starting to emerge here, and I really don't know what's going to happen. What do you think is going to happen to the Flyers? Are they going to finally get to where they want to be, or are they just going to do what they usually do and get really good and then go back in the slump and
They're
fall down?
probably
again?
just going to go back
Yeah.
in. So that's basically
That's what it's been.
that's what it's been for the years. They just can't hold on to something good.
Yeah, and now here's another. And 2 more games of the weekend. We got Saturday, Panthers Jets. Now these are 2 teams.
Panthers are
These are 2
gonna
teams.
take
Yeah,
that one.
2 teams that have always had a little bit of a rivalry here and there. Because when the Jets first became a team after the Thrashers moved, these teams have always dealt with rivalry because of the Canadian fans that live in Florida. So I think the Panthers are going to take this one. What do you think, Patrick?
The Panthers by far, because they're just honestly just a better team. You know, look at all the players they got. You know, Yager and everything. They're definitely going to win this one, I think.
And the last game of that day is Stars, the number 1 team in the league, against the slowly emerging Boston Bruins, who have actually started to take second place in the Atlantic Division.
They've started to take second place, but they have had some. They started to go up, and then they had a traumatic 9-2 loss, and then they won a couple games. They just got shut out 2-0 yesterday. But it's all about how you're feeling that day. Every game, you could be playing best team in the league, worst team in the league. You don't know who's going to come out on top. It's how you're pumped up that day, how you feel that day. It's everything falls into place a certain way. It all comes down to the day when you actually have to get it done.
Exactly. And the last 2 games of the weekend, we got Sunday at 3:30 p.m. on NBC. We have the Chicago Blackhawks and the Minnesota Wild, 2 Western Conference powerhouses. This should be a good one. I think the Blackhawks are going to take this one.
Blackhawks. are gonna
Blackhawks,
take
Blackhawks.
are going to take it.
And the last one are 2 original 6 teams going at it. The Detroit Red Wings and the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden. What do we think about this one? Red Wings, an old team, but somehow still always managed to compete and make the playoffs. The longest active streak out of any major sports team in making the playoffs. If they make it this year, it'll be 25 straight years of making the playoffs.
I think the Rangers are probably going to take this one. They have a lot more momentum this season. They're starting to turn up their game a little bit more.
I agree. I definitely agree.
They've lost the Stanley Cup. They've gone to the conference championship. They've lost, and they really have a lot of drive to make it and
Yeah.
win another Stanley Cup.
All right, and then we'll give you an update on the college hockey rankings before we close out the show here. We'll give you the top 10 teams. Number 1, I believe, is still a nice little small school in Hamden, Connecticut that we like to call Quinnipiac University. The Quinnipiac Bobcats are 22 wins, 2 losses, and 6 ties, along with number 2, Boston College. Number 3, St. Cloud State up in Minnesota. Number 4, North Dakota. Number 5, Providence. Number 6, University of Michigan. I believe Patrick Hankels is a big fan of that.
Oh, yeah.
Number 7, University of Notre Dame. Number 8, Yale. Number 9, BU. And number 10, wow, that's a new one, University of Denver.
That I've never heard that team being good. All these teams just level off.
It's college hockey. Anything happens, guys.
I've always heard all those names of the top 10, and I've never heard of that school in my life.
I've heard them as a top 10 lacrosse school. Never thought they were good at anything else. But the number one team looks right now seems to be the most dominant team, the Quinnipiac Bobcats. I think that team's going to win a national championship soon.
They
Very
have.
soon.
They've
They've
gone-
gotten to one and they lost to Yale. Can they finally avenge that?
They probably
They
can.
probably will. They
Yeah.
probably can and will.
Probably can and will. All right, that's all the time we have for today on Sick Time. I'm Brett Mayerson. He's Logan Condon. He's Patrick Henkels, and we will see you on our next broadcast.
See you around.